Getting straight on with some of these comments and questions we'll talk about. I only started this 2 days back, and on day 3 today can sit between 12 p.m. and 6 p.m. and each hour of the 6 hours I sit for 10 minutes, equal to 60 minutes sitting. Is this good enough to progress further? Is this good enough to progress further on in the many months to come or years? Though my goal is to meditate full time, I have to first integrate it. Any thoughts about it would be great. Thank you for the support, Venerable. Okay, so you're meditating from 12 noon until 6 in the evening, each hour for 10 minutes. This isn't ideal, no. Firstly, whether you're working or not, that's going to be quite hard to keep up. And as you say, integrate that into your day. It's too regimented. We want to try and integrate our meditation practice, take what we develop sitting, when we develop single pointed focus on one meditation object, this attention, this awareness, we want to be able to take into our everyday lives throughout all of our daily activities by way of sati or mindfulness. So we develop samadhi, sitting in formal meditation, to have mindfulness, sati, throughout all of our daily activities. Therefore, being mindful, careful, in other words, our days will go more smoothly, and we will appreciate more the truth, the reality of our daily lives and the way they work, the way our emotions arise, stay for a while and pass away, the way our physical feelings arise, stay for a while and pass away. This is what they call vipassana, which just really translates as seeing clearly. Trying to just stop your daily activities and meditate for 10 minutes is a little difficult. Now occasionally one can, through the day, given the opportunity, either stop at a lunchtime for 20 minutes or so and practice meditation, or something they call micro meditations. Just stop for a few seconds. Watch the breath as you breathe in and watch the breath as you breathe out, as long as it's safe to do so. And just drop everything for a moment like that, if you're given that opportunity. But don't try and make a timetable of that. It might work for a few days, but it'll be very difficult to continue that into the future. So one develops a routine of sitting meditation. If your time constraints are difficult to fit it in, we make time. That's much easier to do than people think. I'm too busy, I don't have the time in my day, there's too much to do in the morning, I'm too tired in the evening. All of these reasons, these hindrances, self-imposed excuses really, not to meditate. Just wake up 20 minutes, a half an hour earlier, and meditate then, before you do anything else. 15-20 minutes in the morning. Before you go to sleep at night, meditate for 20 minutes or so, if you can, 40, before you go to sleep at night. You'll lose an hour's sleep. This doesn't matter. The meditation you're practicing is far more restorative than sleep, far more beneficial than sleep. You'll wake up more energetic, with more enthusiasm for the day, and you will be practicing regularly there an hour's meditation of proper samadhi, not this 10 minutes in each hour spread over 6. So that's what I would suggest, and that's what the Buddha teaches us. That's how he teaches us to meditate. Good, I hope that's useful. Speaking of pronunciation, I wasn't going to say anything, but you're going to. But since you bring it up, did I? I was following along in the book during a puja, And it seems sometimes you pronounce M as ng, and sometimes you pronounce M as M. Or m. Yeah, I see what you mean. I'm pretty sure that the M should always be ng, like Dhammang, Buddhang. Well, even in that word is an example of where it's not. So if there's a dot underneath in your chanting book, and you can get that link here somewhere if you look in the comments or ask me and I'll send it to you. If there's a dot under the M, it is pronounced ng, N-G, ng. If there's not a dot, then it's pronounced M. So with dhammang, there's a dot under the last M at the end. It's dhammam, but with a dot under the M. So it's dhamma, like a m, because there's no dot, mang. Dhammang, dhammang, an M, a m, and a ng, m. However, I do get it wrong all of the time because I don't use that chanting book. I have my own version, which I've written out basically by hand, and don't have the dots or the lines or the other squiggles that you have in your chanting book. I have it written in a format that I find easier. Well, actually, it's a combination of various different styles, so that it's I have them all in one place. So I kind of just do a lot of it from memory, and it's habit, and a lot of my habits. I don't know whether you heard this noise. It sounds to me, I know it's not, because I would see it. It sounds to me, this noise I keep hearing today, and I've heard it on other days, when we have hot air balloons in England, they have this thing that blows the hot air up into the balloon. So when they're getting a hot air balloon into the air, you hear this exactly the same sound as that. But I think it's something to do with the nurseries and the greenhouses, of which there are a lot around here. But I keep looking for this balloon to go up, but it's not going to happen because there isn't one there. It'd be a great place to go for a balloon ride, I should think. There'd be a lot of thermals though. It's very hot here at the moment, very hot. The monsoon season is coming to an end, so I think that the phone says it's 30 degrees, but wow, if that's 30 degrees, I wouldn't want to know what 40 is. I'd say it feels like, if we have this temperature, feels like more like 40 today. Very hot indeed. So yes, pronunciation, I'm not that fussy about it myself. I tend to, as far as I'm concerned, we don't know how the Buddha sounded or his disciples when they were speaking in Pali, if indeed they were even speaking in that language. So there's no right or wrong. You'll hear it pronounced and sound different in many different ways, even in one country or one district, or amongst a sangha of monks. They'll all pronounce even the most common Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Sama Sambuddhassa differently. It doesn't matter too much. Say it as you like to hear it, as it sounds comfortable and it's nice. And I just do my best, really. But you're correct, absolutely correct. With a dot it should be ng, without a dot it's m. If you want to pronounce it exactly correctly, with a line over the a it's r, without a line under the a it's a. And it's only recently I've not done all of the as r. It's easier to do them as r. It's difficult to do cha. You tend to say cha, and it's cha. Just bad habits we get into. That's one of mine. Not one of the worst things I could do. Oh, someone's got some clever answer about that. Well, that's very good. I don't understand the clever answer. I don't even know what you'd need to know to understand that. It's to do with the origins of the language. Okay, sometimes when I meditate outside, I hear God talk to me. So I'll start again. Sometimes it's funny because this was not the question I was expecting, because you know these little pictures of the person, which isn't always of the person. This picture is of some kind of beef burger, like a McDonald's with salad and Could be a veggie burger, but it looks like it's got meat in it. But this is like this big double-decker high beef burger picture. It's a very nice, colourful picture. And then I read this question, which wasn't what I was expecting. Anyway, sometimes when I meditate outside, I'll hear God talk to me, and then Jesus will send me signs like shooting stars. Have you heard of this or seen it? No, I haven't. No. And someone else has answered you, relating it to the characteristics of existence of all conditioned things being impermanent, unsatisfactory, yes, and not self, which everything is, all conditioned things, including phenomena and thoughts, are. But more simply than that, this is thoughts, this is phenomena. All kinds, when you are meditating or just sitting outside without the intention of meditating, all kinds of phenomena can arrive. It's nothing to worry about, it's nothing to attach to, it's nothing to dislike or like. See it as just that, phenomena, arising, staying a while, passing away. Whether you attribute it to God or Jesus, that's up to you. If that's nice to you, then that's fine. But it's just, in a way, it's either hearing, if it sounds, it's seeing, if it's seeing. If it's clearly in your mind only, it's imagination, it's thoughts, it's thinking. Label it, note it as that if you wish, if that's how you like to identify things. And it will either stay or it will go away. But don't let it interrupt your meditation. Just allow it to pass by like other hindrances will arise, stay and pass away. One more question about sila. What is the... I think this is a silly place I've got the phone. The sun's shining on it. Right, this way. Not the sun, a reflection. One more question about sila. What is the results of sitting meditation for long periods of time without sila, specifically fifth precept, intoxication? Does it slow down the progress or just add more hindrances? While sitting, while sitting. I think that should be a full stop there. I am an everyday... Oh, there is. I just didn't see it. Sorry. I am an everyday marijuana smoker. Would love to quit, but without smoking for some time, say a day, feelings of anger and delusional feelings of anger and delusional arise and sometimes lead to overwhelming feeling. What can I do to let go of marijuana use? So marijuana use is just another habit, it can be an addiction, not necessarily a physical addiction, but anything we like to do that gives us a good feeling is a kind of addiction. It's a desire, a strong desire to have that feeling again. The more we do it, the more we need of it. Now I talk quite extensively about this in a lot of these videos, so go to the talks on this channel and search for addiction, how to give things up or something like that. If you just put English monk at the end, it'll come up with my talks on that subject. That's about giving up. As far as meditation is concerned, whether it's the fifth precept or the fourth precept of lying, the third of sexual misconduct, the second of stealing, or the first of killing, any of the 5 precepts, yes, if we are breaking them, it will have a dramatic effect on our meditation. The reason we keep sila, keep those 5 precepts, is it is the foundations of our meditation. It is really what we are sitting on. It's like me sitting on here. I was going to say, if it was rotten and falling to bits, it wouldn't be safe. It is rotten and falling to bits, or more, not so much rotten, but eaten by termites, and it is falling to bits. These termites eating this platform that I am precariously perched upon are like our digressions of morality, our breaking of sila. All these termites chewing away at the wood, breaking down this structure that I am currently sitting on and supported by, is breaking precepts. It's making what I'm sitting on unstable and unsupportive to sitting for any length of time. But I'm being careful and sitting here and being aware. But for our meditation, for samadhi to be possible, we need firm, solid foundations of sila. So we need to try and keep our moral precepts. Doesn't mean you can't meditate, because by practicing meditation, you will also recognize more clearly where you are going wrong with sila, and then be able to address that later on. So you'll feel perhaps feelings of guilt which are getting in the way of you developing some nice deep absorption into your meditation object. You may not be getting the enjoyment out of in meditation that one might like to get from meditation. And this is probably because you have obstacles in the way, restlessness and worrying about the past, things you've done, worrying a little bit about the future, things catching up on you about things you've done that are wrong. Whereas if you haven't done anything wrong, you've only done good things, you'll have no worries like this about the past, and you'll have no concerns about the future, keeping you in this present moment, able to enjoy meditation more satisfactorily. So it's a sound foundation and very important. You have a long road ahead of you if you need to give up smoking marijuana after some years, but it's very easily possible. Many people can do it. Whether they stay off it is another matter. But if you are able to get into meditation, into this practice, you will stay off whatever you have given up. Because this practice in itself, not the doing of it, it doesn't require any doing. You don't have to sit for hours and then meditating to give anything up. But you only have to understand the teachings of the Buddha, for instance, the 12 links of dependent origination, to fully understand the mechanics of addiction and how fragile addiction really is, how easy it is to break those links in that chain in order to stop your repetitive, habitual habit of addiction, that behavioural pattern. You can just stop it just like that by not doing something. Not by having to go and buy anything, go on a special course, join a special club, speak to special people, do special things. No, you just stop doing it. It's just that. And that might sound, well, it's easy for you to say, I've done it. I had many things that I used to do before, a long time even before I could really start meditation. And that was a long time before I'd even heard of Buddhism, let alone became a monk. But back in my younger years as a businessman and through the 80s and early 90s, there were all sorts of things we used to do. And those things were very good and fun and pleasurable. I shouldn't say good. I shouldn't even say fun and pleasurable, but at the time they were most enjoyable. But you needed more and more and more of these things all of the time in order to keep that fun aspect, that enjoyment aspect up. You could never keep up. You just needed more and more and more until it got on top of you. And this is the cycle of addiction. It can be broken when you realize the simple truth of that impermanence. Trying to satisfy insatiable desires, trying to quench unquenchable thirst, and feed these cravings is a battle you'll never win. You can never do it. So you step away and you stop trying. And this just requires a little while of a little additional suffering, but that is by no means in comparison to the ongoing suffering we have keeping up those habits day in, day out, even hour after hour, minute after minute. Where's the next fix coming from? This is gone. This is truly freedom. This is liberation. And this is when you can really meditate properly. But keep meditating. Watch some videos on giving things up, my ones, because they're quite simple and easy to understand, I hope. And try. But when I say try, I just mean stop trying. Stop trying to get your marijuana. I know for a fact it can't be that easy for you to get your marijuana each week. People will let you down. Whom was going to bring it doesn't bring it. You'll spend hours and hours waiting around for it to come. You'll run out and you'll be going crazy that it's... And this is when you're having these anger and delusional emotional states arising. This is a lot to do with you can't get what you want. That's just the same as any ill will, any aversion. which is a hindrance, the second hindrance in the 5 hindrances to meditation. Ill will, which is aversion, it's hatred, it's not being able to have what you want. But in this case, and in most cases, it's not being able to have what you think you want, or what you think you need, which is just what you want, just a desire. So see it like this, see it for the reality that it is, how it truly is, and you'll not want it so much. You will at first, but this will go away. And the more you succeed with this, the more easy it is to keep it up. Personally, I haven't had anything like this, any intoxicants now for I don't know, 12 years, 12 years or whatever, 12 years? Yeah, it's quite a long time. It doesn't even come into, I don't have to count the days, because it doesn't even, or the years even, because it doesn't come into my mind. And this happened quite quickly when I realised, well, all I've got to do to give up smoking is just not do it anymore. Don't go to the shop and buy the tobacco or the papers to make the rolled-up cigarettes. Just don't go there. Then I don't have to earn the money to pay for it. Then I don't have to worry about rolling them up, actually. And then I don't have to worry about running out. All of these things that I was free from when I just stopped doing it. And you have time to meditate. Okay, probably I've spoken enough on that one. There is a link in my answer I sent to you directly anyway. Namaste. I know that you practice I know that you practice Theravada. I myself practice Vajrayana. What is the Theravada view on Dakini? Well, I don't think there is a Theravada view on Dakini. Not that I know about. I don't have one myself. So, yes, I can't say much about that. This is Vajrayana, yes, it would be that tradition. These are mythical beings or superpowers, something like this. No, I don't really go into that area of, it doesn't even come into Buddhist cosmology, of which there is some in Theravada Buddhism. So, no, I can't help you with that one. Okay, I won't read this whole comment because it's a bit long, but somebody really wants to change the world, wants to make a new society in India where Buddhism is all welcome and everyone wakes up from their sleep and it stops being conditioned by oppressive governmental regimes and all of this. All I'll say to you is stop trying to save the world. Work on yourself. This is a hard enough battle. Yes, we have 5 hindrances in our meditation, but we have these kilesas, this greed, hatred and delusion. If you can conquer those, okay, then go on and try and save the world. But you won't need to. The world will come to you. You work here on what you can deal with yourself. Don't worry about everyone else, and you will get there in the end. But if you're worrying all about everybody else, trying to straighten the deck chairs on the decks of the Titanic, if you understand that expression, the Titanic was a big ship that sunk. It's like running around trying to straighten all the deck chairs up on the decks before it sinks. There's no point. You can save yourself. You can help yourself. You can improve your own life radically if you concentrate on that. And many people will see the change in you, come to you and say, hey, you're doing so well, you've improved so much, how can I do that? And you share that with them only by example of what you've done yourself. So start with yourself, and you're not going to change the whole political system in India or in any country, however much noise you make about it. Go quiet and deal with your own problems. Sort yourself out. Your development is within. Okay? Same person. You love the looking around at these surroundings, beautiful nature I'm sitting in, and it's very calming and it's very wonderful. And seeing monks and hearing them and all of this. Well, yes, it is. You really only get a very small snapshot in this screen. You're not experiencing the intense heat, all the things that are biting me as I'm sitting here and flying around my ears. You might hear some of them in the microphone, I don't know. And there's many discomforts about such association, what we see. So don't be fooled. But yes, I agree with you, and beauty can be appreciated, but we must always remember that this is nothing to do with meditation or the practice. I happen to be here. Actually, beauty and what we can really experience is within. We should look inside for this pasadi, this tranquility. We should look inside for joy, piti, and we should look inside for sukha, happiness, this rapture that we can get from meditation. We should look inside for the Dharma, which is, the Buddha said, beautiful in the beginning, beautiful in the middle, beautiful in the end. Now that covers all manner of things, but the Dharma is beautiful. As often as we talk about suffering, and we talk about impermanence, unsatisfactoriness, and being out of our control, the realization of that truth is truly liberating. And it's that liberation, that freedom from these ties to this very difficult life, that makes us take things less personally, without a person involved, less seriously, but with equanimity. So we're careful, we're considerate, we have compassion, we have loving kindness, we have joy for others, but we have equanimity. We have this quality of being that is undisturbed, unwavering in adversity, because it's steady in its firm basis of, again, I repeat, like as we began, with sila, moral virtue. It has those steady foundations and this enjoyable practice of samadhi, meditation, and you've developed this wisdom of understanding that is unreactiveness and is understanding the truth of these characteristics of existence, which are not only are our firm foundations, but our liberation, our freedom from suffering in this lifetime. And that is the true beauty that we are surrounded by and we held within us. So don't be fooled by what you see on the pretty screens. It's not all what it looks like, and you don't have to be going anywhere to find beauty. You can find it right at home or wherever you happen to be, whether it's a beautiful, aesthetically beautiful place or not. It's there. It's in every breath, as you breathe in, as you breathe out. It's the same whether you're there, here, or anywhere. It doesn't matter. Okay. I'm not sure I understand that one. We are telling you not to buy anything at all. Sometimes people put a little number which is a reference, it goes to the video, but I can, but I'm not going to look at the video myself. So I must have said something about not just buying, or we buy a lot of things. Yeah, I mean, people still do need to buy things. You know, if we're not a monk being given our food each day, our robes, our shelter and our requisite, our medicine, our 4 requisites, then people need to buy things. There's nothing wrong with that. Of course, I'm not saying you don't need to buy things. You do need to buy things. But you only need to buy what you need. But we tend to buy what we want when we can, not necessarily what we need. That's the important thing. That's what matters. Oh, thank you, Bhante. I have been unsuccessfully trying to discipline my 4-year-old, and after your talk have told her that Hiri and Ottappa are angels in their mind, keeping an eye on all their actions. So we'll see how this works. Poor thing, I hope it's not scared. Your child's not scared. She is not scared. Well, I'm glad you found it useful. Thank you for your comment. I mean, remember, she's only 4. Hiri and Ottappa is quite difficult for us to understand as adults, and they're not really angels. This is, I was speaking figuratively, but yeah, don't confuse. You can, I tell you, with specific naughtiness. A lot of behavioural things with children and naughtiness can be, say, squashing insects or doing things like that. Get them to make friends with the insect. Explain to them that the insect is, the ants are just like them. Get them to just watch and play with them for a while. See how they behave, going back and forth to their house, going to work, going home, eating, playing, and see that they are other beings. Get them to really get involved. And similarly with their friends. Get them to associate when they're feeling sad and when they're hurting, that also their friends, their school partners or whatever, however it works, also can feel sad, can feel hurt too. Because it's often with children, they haven't learned association, they have disassociation, and everything's very much within. They're not seeing all other beings as being the same as them. In fact, as grown-ups, many grown-ups don't see all beings as being the same. We are all the same. We feel the same. We think the same. We are the same. We don't need to think very hard about what someone's thinking. Mind reading isn't that hard. If you think, put yourself in the person you're talking to's place, you can read their mind, because they will only be thinking, very probably, what you would be thinking if you were in their position. So if you say something, you can think, well, they'll be thinking what I'd be thinking if they said that to me. Because we're all, whether we're from China, India, the North Pole, the South Pole, France or England, it doesn't matter. Whatever colour we are, whatever religion we are, whatever sex we are, age, whatever our job is, we all have the same thinking brains, the same physical bodies under this thin layer of skin. They may be trained in different ways, levels of fitness in terms of our bodies. They may be trained in different ways, levels of intelligence in terms of the knowledge acquired and retained in our thinking minds, brains. But our minds, our reactions, our behavioural patterns, these underlying tendencies are all the same. We are all the same. And you can, with children, develop that association with friendship. This is a lot of the reason, and good reason, for children to have pets, or families to have pets, dogs or cats or rabbits or hamsters or goldfish even. Because not only do they get this compassion, this caring for some other being beginning to develop, when they experience loss at the death of these creatures, they see the true nature of existence, anicca, impermanence, that all things die, and we will be separated from those that we love. So it's an educational process. Yes, so good luck with your teaching, and hope she's not too scared by Hiri and Dotapa. They're very nice, really. How to deal with self-hate. I think that's possibly a whole talk in itself. Self-hate. If you hate yourself, it's the same as if you hate someone else. Hatred is one of the three root defilements. We have greed, which is desire, wanting, and we have hatred, which is also desire of not wanting. So it's having something we don't want, but to the extreme, hatred. And delusion is the third, which is ignorance, not understanding. So how we deal with both greed, which is the opposite of hate, if you like, and how we deal with hate, okay, is by developing wisdom. So if we can get rid of delusion, generally that's going to have a big impact on greed and hatred. So whether you self-hate, hatred of yourself, or whether it's of others, it's still hatred. It's the same problem, the same defilement. In fact, if you hate yourself, you're more likely to be hating others too. Now, hatred is based on not having something you want. So people or yourself are not coming, in this case, it's yourself that is not coming up to your expectations. So we take away the expectations. We take away comparison. We take away the past, anything we've done in the past, and leave it there and start afresh from now. If you hate yourself because of something you've been doing up to now, then stop doing it. If you can't stop doing it, like we were talking about with addiction previously, work on beginning to be able to stop doing it. But if you can, and it's in the past, now is the time to separate yourself from the past, look into the present moment, not into the future, but into this present moment here and now. And know what it is that you don't like about yourself. Identify what it is you don't like about yourself, what it is you think you hate, and let go of it. Just put it down. Like a red hot ball of iron. Don't cling on to it. Let it go. Put it down on the floor, and it will stop burning you. Develop loving kindness. If you find this metta, loving kindness, hard to develop, and you will, because if you are self-loathing, if you have hatred as a natural tendency, that is quite hard to do. But also, if we have the ability to hate, the ease to hate, the ease to even be able to hate ourselves, you can very easily be tricked into loving kindness and become a lover, not a hater. Metta comes more easily to people whom are haters, because it's two ends of the same stick, two opposites of the pole, two sides of the same thing, in that you can flip it. You can make that shift. Now, to some extent, it has to be a little artificial in the first place. If you're finding it difficult to start with having metta, loving kindness for yourself, find something really cute and nice that you do like. A little baby fluffy animal or a pet or something like this, even in picture form, or at the zoo or in the park. Don't start going up to people or anything like that, weird, but a little puppy on YouTube or a teddy bear, something like this. And see the cuteness and the niceness in these kind of things and that feeling you get. Think of mothers and their children and that maternal, unconditional love. Think of these things as nice, kind, loving thoughts in your mind. And they will start to replace the feelings of hatred, slowly but surely. You cannot actually have metta, you cannot have hatred if you have metta, if you have loving kindness. So metta bhavana, this development of metta, is a very good way to get rid of this, what you call self-hate. But also you can see self-hate in a very literal sense as just one of our many defilements, which come from the three root causes of defilements of greed, hatred and delusion. It's even there, the word hatred, 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 it's there. It's all because of ignorance. Understand these teachings of the Buddha, what I'm talking about in all of these videos. Watch them, listen to me, hear what I'm saying about what we do in our daily lives, keeping precepts, meditating, developing wholesome mind states, reducing unwholesome mind states. All of that stuff I repeat over and over again. Keep listening to it over and over again. Not just me, others. Listen to people who are talking kindly to you, and then you will be able to be kind to yourself. And I hope you can be. All right? This is one of those very long comments, which I'm going to skip all the way through, read my answer, which more or less to me then sums up the whole long comment. So, send an email by all means, but these very long comments, difficult for me to get through those, really, in this format, because I'm just looking at this on a phone. Anyway, it's really about Christianity and Buddhism and different. It's very interesting. I did read it. I can't remember now the meaning behind it all. essentially my answer was that Christians are required to believe, and Buddhists are just required to know. That's the difference. So for all of what you say here, it's all based on belief. It doesn't matter how much you say to me as Christians. Bearing in mind I come from a Christian background, still am a Christian. Jesus hasn't gone away because I've become a Buddhist monk. I may not have to believe in God, but I don't disbelieve in God. But I know that Jesus existed and was a teacher, a very good teacher. As far as teachers go, probably the best, considering he's the most well known throughout the history of humankind, and currently today, and historically. So, to all intents and purposes, there I am, a Christian. I have a Christian name, it says so in my passport. I have, I was, not ordained. I had all the ceremonies, as Christians do. Baptised, confirmed, christened, baptised, confirmed. I come from a Christian country. So you don't need to try and convert me. I'm already converted. Preaching to the converted, I think is the expression they say. But I've taken another layer upon my Christianity. I've dropped my my belief structure and replaced it with a knowing structure, a knowing of the truth, what we can experience within this lifetime in order to be free from suffering within this lifetime, without the expectations of what might happen after death, which we cannot know. And all of this stuff that people want to quote to me in length is often based on just that, belief. Not even the factual parts of the Bible. It tends to always to be, but this saint, the Lord, said this, so this is the way it is. Well, that's not necessarily, there's no proof, there's no facts behind that. That's just something in writing that doesn't necessarily have to be true. So this is the difference between Christianity and Buddhism. Christianity does require belief. Belief in a God, the Son and the Holy Spirit. Belief that Jesus died for our sins, was God's only Son, and belief that there is just one God. That's it, it's required. We have to swear this I can't even say it, the apostolic creed. Each time you go into church you say this in each ceremony, which I could no longer do because it made no sense to me. How could I swear something on my heart like this that's so true and I believe if I didn't or had doubts? It's lying. So I couldn't do that. So I stopped doing that, and then I felt uncomfortable standing there not doing it, so I didn't go to church anymore and became a Buddhist monk instead. Not quite as simple as that, but it's kind of the way it happened. And this is the difference. So, it's... but if you want to send big, long comments like that, try and send them in an email form, because then it's... these nice short questions go more with the flow, and I can relate them to what the context they're in more easily. Mind you, I don't see these comments perhaps like other people see them. I just get them all in one go. I don't know how other people see them because I'm not watching this channel. So forgive me if I've got it all wrong. Maybe they should be very long, I don't know. Right. Don't know what time I started, but I think I'll deal with this one now. Somebody would like me to start a series of discourses about the suttas, specifically the Mangala Sutta, the Ratana Sutta, and so on, the core sequences of suttas, breaking them down into the Pali language, analysing each Pali word, and spending days and days. He says even one sutta might go on to many discourses. There are many monks doing this on YouTube. You can go to, I think Ajahn Brahmali has Sutta Study, entire channels dedicated to it. There are many, and there is Sutta Central, which is a very good resource. My own, I don't do this myself. This isn't something I'm going to do either. The point of this channel is for me to share my experience of Buddhist practice. It's not to have another form of commentary on the suttas. As far as I'm concerned, the suttas are the word of the Buddha, and that's good enough for me. They need no further commentary. Now, the best way to the ones you refer to, the Mangala Sutta, for instance, is in the chanting. If you hear the chanting of the Mangala Sutta, and then you hear it in the language, your own mother tongue, not English necessarily, if that isn't your mother tongue, but one that is going to, a language that resonates with you most solidly, most easily. So you listen to it in your own language. It's self-explanatory. It needs no further dissection, no further commentary. It's quite easy for anyone to understand. So I'm not going to spend hours talking about at length about suttas, and I'm not very good at doing that particularly, whereas there are monks that just do that, whom have translated them from the original Pali language themselves, and therefore have very good authority to do so. So please, if you just search the sutta you're interested in, Mangala Sutta, in YouTube, it will come up with dozens and dozens of monks doing exactly what you're asking me to do there already. I don't need to do that. I try to do something here that's different for people, because it's already been done in a much better way than I could ever hope to imagine to be able to do it for you. But thanks for the suggestion, and I hope if you can find something, it'll be useful to you. If you can't, send me another message or an email and I'll send you links. I'll find them for you. But just search the sutta you want on YouTube. They'll just come up automatically. I think that's what I said in my answer to you, more or less, anyway. What time did I start this, I wonder? I'll answer these next two questions. Did the Buddha mention, because they're kind of related, did the Buddha mention anything about keeping the dead body for a certain time before handling it? In the case of cremation, is there a specific place to keep the ashes, and should there be any prayers or dedication of merits to the departed soul? No, not specifically. There are no rules or conditions as to how we deal with the dead. It's very much dealt with as it's dealt with in the country that that they're in. Or people who die are in. No, there's nothing specific. I mean, in different cultural regions, they have added their own. In Thailand, they have quite a lot of additional ceremony attached to Buddhist funerals. This isn't really part of the core teachings of Buddhism, no. And I know this is leading to another question, so I won't dwell onto this too well. I'll continue it in a moment. But as far as merits, dedication of merits, this is in the chanting where we dedicate our good actions to those that have died, that they may have a rebirth. And this again is explained in the wordings of that chanting. When it comes to the chanting of dedication of merits, go into the chanting book, look at that, dedication of merits, read that chanting, it explains it. If you understand that literally, believe that's how it works, then that's good. If not, you can take it or leave it. It's all there. But that's as far as it goes, as far as the word of the Buddha is concerned, and the dead. Once this body is finished with, that's it, it's finished with. It doesn't matter what happens to it, wherever it is. And the next question is that, do you make, greetings Phra Dan, do you make any arrangements for what is to be done with your body after your passing? E.g. bury, cremate, and where? Sorry for asking such a personal question. Okay, well, it's not a personal question because it won't be my body once I've died. I'm not passing, I'm dying. Passing away, passing, and this kind of terminology I've not really ever understood. We die. We live, we die. Actually, they use the term here, and when they speak English about the dead in India, they say expired, which I think is better than passing. Expired is often what they say. He has expired, they say. That makes me laugh. But it's true, isn't it? You have expired. This body's finished. It's gone. So no, I've nothing. It's nothing personal, and I don't care what happens to it. I just want whatever arrangements are made to be the easiest possible for whomever has to suffer those consequences. Hopefully I'll just die in the middle of the forest somewhere and the animals will eat me and nobody will be bothered with the whole arduous process of expatriation and so on and so forth that's necessary. There are, as far as arrangements are concerned, there are instructions with my sons, my children, and funds in place for any incidental expenses that may incur by my death. Not may, that will, because it's a fact, will be incurred by my death, in order that they can, as cheaply as possible, dispose of my no longer required body. You also mentioned back in the first question something along with prayers. Well, we don't have prayers. We chant reflections. We're not asking any God to do anything. And you also said departed soul. So just picking up on words. So I apologise if this is just a translation thing. But we don't have a soul either. There is no self. There's no personality that gets reborn. This is why it's unimportant what happens after you've died, after you've expired. It's irrelevant what happens to the body then. You've got to just get rid of it tidily and cleanly as possible, because it's a smelly, horrible, unhygienic thing when it's alive. When it's dead, it's even worse. They're not nice things. After a few days in this climate, they really begin to hum. So one needs to get rid of it as quickly as possible. And I think in this part of the world, burning is probably the best way. In fact, there's quite a smoke flume going up just over there now, which is probably some expired individual, being as at this time of day. Anyway, I hope there's something I've answered or talked about your comments and questions in a useful way that you can apply to your lives. If not, then please just let it go and don't worry about it. Thank you for watching. If you can, please share with your friends, anyone you know, and I will look forward to talking to you again very soon. Thank you.